the 31-day billionaire, for example, is the most basic mental piece you could do to help yourself start the day. I think some of you have heard me say it, especially when I'm in Vermont, because I got this massive screen on the wall. I put on videos on purpose, and it's usually motivational videos just to get that day going. So for you to go through the 31-day billionaire, it takes 31 days. You could go through it about every 4 to 6 months. You could go through it for 1 month. There's like 8 to 18 minutes. How many haven't even gone through that yet? Probably a bunch of you. You have not gone through 31-day billionaire. Okay, a third-ish. I would go through that for sure, guys. Joe Vitale is no dummy, and he did that with us.
Is that in the academy, Chris?
Yep, right, Rusty? Gotta be.
Yes,
Rusty's
sir.
chuckling over there. Yes, everything's in there.
Again,
Except for the deal structures, that's on YouTube, but everything's in there.
Again, the academy is the umbrella, and then everything else is in whatever we talk about is in that.
And if you have questions where else you should go, guys, besides, I just gave you 31-day billionaire for mental part, but ask your coach, say, hey, what do you think? Well, if you haven't gone through the live seller calls, the separate program, not the ones in QLS, at least 3 times, that's where you should go next for your scripts. Gosh, I think all the coaches did it. And I remember Brian telling me he used to run and drive and put those on. Just listen to those. So it's like a song you listen to since you were young and you just know what the words are next. Listen to those seller calls till you just want to throw up, because you're going to start saying stuff in those like you would a song. If you listen to enough, and it's not once. I invite you guys to write down a few things. I got a sort of an order. Let's call it 3 or 4 things. One is we're halfway there, right? Almost is pretty scary. We're almost halfway through the year. So if we start thinking of this stuff now, we can adjust for July 1, right? For the second half. First of all, for your outgoing calls, I promise you by about June 15th, most realtors and most investors go to sleep, or at least half their efforts, if not less. So that's the time where I used to get excited. Coming up right now, says to Kim and Wayne from Vermont, to do more calls. Because what happens is we don't do much, say, hypothetically in July, pick a month, or August. And all of a sudden we get in January and go, oh, I'm slow, I don't have any take-ins. Well, it's because you didn't do anything 60, 90, 120 days ago. That's how it affects you. So I'm just suggesting that you raise the bar, even if it's a call a day, do the math on that, or 5 calls a day. I'm suggesting you raise the bar a little bit here while everybody else goes to sleep. That's number 1. Number 2, this is more of a thought process for you, maybe over the weekend. What is the biggest fear, challenge, or obstacle, whatever you categorize it, that you didn't tackle in January through June so far, that if you did, like, in your heart, you go, if I did that, I know I would have done a little better. I would have maybe got it taken. Or I would have maybe had a little more confidence. Or I would have maybe been in a better mind for, like, whatever it is for you. What is that one thing that if you did it, you know it would have affected you, you just didn't do it yet? Because you're afraid or think you didn't have time, because that's a mindset too. Whatever it might be. Think about that. You don't have to answer it now, but think about that. And let's make sure you're tackling it for July 1. Notice I didn't say make a list of 15 of them. I just said one. One thing. Because there's one thing in there, there's something in there that's a needle mover that you go deep down, I know if I did that, it would work. Or it would get me better. Or it would do this. That makes sense, you guys? Cool. So that's number 1. I'm trying to go in an order that makes sense here. So 2 would be this. Maybe given that or something else that's triggered from that I just said to you, what extra either skill set or capability or extra something might you need to do that? Because maybe you're not doing it because of something. Is it a skill set? Is it confidence? Is it accountability? What is it? So what is missing there? What skill set or capability, call it, would you perhaps maybe need? So when I went on the journey that I shared earlier, health-wise in August of 21, I had that question, this is what I use, that question triggered me to get 3 people involved. 3 different people inside of sort of the health area. They said, well, I'm missing that. What am I gonna do? I don't know. I don't know the answer. So whatever it is for you, then you turn up the heat for June and July, and you make a huge difference. That's number 2. Questions on these as I go, please yell. It doesn't have to be, if it's real estate for you, great. But I'm talking just general, because sometimes when we improve an area of our life, it improves this area, right? So whatever it is for you that you think you need to tackle, doesn't have to be just deal related. Although for some of you that's a big game changer. For others it might be something else. So that's number 2.
Yeah, I got something, Chris. It's just a quick one.
Yeah.
Personally, since after the boot camp, I went full pedal to the metal. Close to 2,000 calls a month, and then I kind of hit a little mental block. I've been at it for like 8 months now, 16, 17 appointments, and I've just after not getting anything, I just got myself a little thinking.
When did you leave the
voice in
boot
the back
camp?
of your head.
March or April, just so I'm clear on the
first one. Was it March? Very first one.
Okay, so April, May. So you're 70-ish days in from that. That's what I was asking. Go ahead.
Right, yeah. So I guess since we joined the starters, that was then. And so anyway, so I ramped up like crazy, fully hit the phones, the 200-300 calls a week. And it just wasn't performing. I got lots of leads, lots of appointments, and it just, nothing came past step 6 of the 7 taken. The offer was sent out and nothing happened. And just this voice in the back of my head is like, am I doing something wrong? Is this for me? I'm sick of looking at my computer and making these calls. Why is this not working? And it starts eating on me. And so I've recently, picked up the phone again, and, we get back into it, but that's just something I'm personally struggling with. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. And it's just something I wanted to share that, I keep pushing through it, but it's something that after a while, it does eat on you.
Yeah, there's not a person on the screen that wouldn't feel that way here, including me. But when you're on your first sentence, my brain went, you've been at 70 days. If you got a taken in there, I'd say you lucked out.
Right.
Since you upped the bar, you've been at 70 days and you're a different person when you left the boot camp. Now, I don't coach as much as Rick does, right? But I'm saying, generally speaking, if anyone comes in and says, yeah, I changed this habit and it's 70 days, I just got done telling you it took me 3 years for the health habit. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I guess I'm not going to change this shit. 70 days is not even a scratch on the surface when you change a habit, unfortunately for everyone here, right? So if you change a habit today, let me set the scene for everyone, not just you. If you attack what I said today and you go, I'm going to attack this script, or I'm going to attack this, or I'm going to rip this apart with Rick as my coach and find out why I'm not getting that last piece of a conversion because I'm getting them all the way to the offer, which, by the way, bravo, that's good. But if you get that last thing and you make a tweak, you probably will see results by QLS if you really get after it, because you're changing habits that you never did. How long have you been in culinary?
Years.
How many?
11 years.
11 years. Okay. So it took you, I don't need to know financially what that does to you, but it took you 11 years to get here. And now we take 70 days and we go, it's not working. No, it's working. You probably need another 3 years. It's working great. So you're normal, and thanks for candidly sharing that with us. But don't throw in the towel because of that. You've got a pass where most people haven't gotten a pass. You're getting offers. Rick, am I accurate? Like, you're coaching hitter.
Yep, absolutely. It took me 15 months to get my first deal.
I actually, Rick might have bitched. I didn't remember him bitching. So congrats to Rick. I seriously don't remember, but I wasn't coaching him until probably a year in?
Yeah, that was about right. Yep.
Yeah. So Hitter, you're good, bud. I was here with you hanging out. I see your call. Like, you're good. You just gotta hang in there. Don't give up on yourself. And if someone else has been in their profession longer than 11, it took you that many years to get here. Do not beat yourself up because you've been at this 24 months or 30. You can't. The payoff is much bigger. Here, Rick, you've done this publicly, so I know I'm not talking out of school here. A 60 grand payday, that payday, forget paydays 1 and 2, because I know all your deals are good, but that payday 3 represents about a third of your W-2 income that you left? Ballpark? I don't know.
It's about a third, yeah.
Okay. So my point is, all of you guys want to leave EW2s, and many of you, some of you already left. And you want to leave it for a reason. You got to give yourself time. Is that journey worth it? I'm going to tell you it's worth it. Rick's going to tell you it's worth it. Every single person who's doing deals is going to tell you worth it. You got to give it the time. That's all. And blow up the coaches.
I was going to say 15 months to get my first deal, but I'm close to 600,000 now.
And even though that payday 3 was quick in our world, that still took 18 months?
Yep.
18 months from after the taken. Correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so time. Time. And what's really cool is the ones that stick around and stick to it, have these conversations. Magical.
He was just saying thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Got your faces are too small in this gallery thing. I didn't do speak of you. All right, Hita, thank you for sharing, because you have everyone else feeling that, and they don't want to be vulnerable, and they don't get as much out of it. So that's a couple things you can do. Here's the third one. We did this on high 6. What could you stop doing? I bring this up a lot. We all forget about it. I forget about it until I revisit these steps. What could you stop doing in the second half? Everybody wants to pile. What can you stop doing?
Making excuses.
Well, that's a great one, because instead you could look, okay, Hita, this is good. So instead of excuses, even though that's a good one to pull off, we could substitute, couldn't we? We could substitute. Let me give you an example. One of my health things was, if I want another glass of wine, instead I go for a night tea. It's a substitution. It's not a major change. It's a substitution. So when you go to make an excuse, it's maybe you do a affirmation. Maybe you take out your goals and read them 3 times. Maybe you write down one statement of what you're trying to do and flush that out. I don't know. I'm just saying that could be a substitution. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a trigger for us. If I do X, I need to substitute it with X or with Y. Just a thought. So what can we stop doing? One more, but kind of ties everything together. And then we have a couple minutes for questions. Because of what we just talked about, like I got to stop doing this, or I want to stop doing this, and I want to, start this new habit. What new routine can you start, like literally this week, so that in June it gets some momentum, some legs? What new routine could you start that nails that one thing that we just discovered you need to do or want to do to get to your goals? What new routine or habit? Because with the doctor this morning, again, we use that example. He goes, well, what did you do in the last 4 months? I said, nothing in the last 4 months. I just did a little more of this and a little more of that. And it's something I've been doing the whole time. I just tweaked it a teeny bit. What routine or habit could you start this week that you know would change that needle you're trying to move?
So one thing that I've started doing, this is Robert, is I make 15 minutes to 20 minutes each morning to read about something that will help me overcome that issue.
Yeah, and you could use YouTube for that, right? Like literally anything. You guys, I said that I listen to videos. If you go to Motiversity, has anyone gone on that on YouTube? Motiversity, like motivation, Motiversity. My wife last week, I was in Vermont on the elliptical, and she's like, "What was that screaming down there?" I just blast the Motiversity videos, and it's top speech after top speech after top speech, one after the other. You're gonna be half asleep not to get done that and not be in a bright frame of mind for that day. You really do. Mm-hmm. It usually sets me up like 3 or 4 days. Motiversity.